Did you watch the preview, Chibi? It's like, I quickly just want to say this real quick. If you did not watch the preview for next week's episode of Fairy Tail, I really recommend you go watch it for yourself before you continue with this video, because I'm about to talk about it, because it's not going to be spoilers, but it's spoilers if you didn't see the preview. So, if you haven't seen the preview, please go watch it, because did you see the chair scene, the fucking chair scene, like, the fucking chair, dude, did you see that in the preview? Like, I don't want to lead into, but that's gonna be badass. I cannot wait to hear the voice actor. I cannot wait. I cannot wait at all. We're getting in, oh my god, like, we're getting into some good shit now. Like, oh, so close, so fucking close. Manga readers know what I'm talking about. I'm getting so fucking close. So, with this episode of Fairy Tail, 50% of it was focused on Natsu versus the Body Snatcher. That's the nickname I want to give him. So, you have it to where, like I said, 50% of the episode is Natsu, Lucy, Happy versus the Body Snatcher, or Body Snatcher Hades, there we go, that's a better title, going after them and eventually figuring out that magic is not lost. For instance, as we know, Wendy, they completely destroyed Face. Face is deactivated, and magic hasn't disappeared from the entire continent, so which this completely destroys the plans of Tartarus, and they realize now that magic is still up in the air, and, you know, wizards still have their magic, all their plans pretty much got fucking destroyed. And so you get to see where, because of this, there is a counterattack towards everybody else, the enemies of Tartarus, not to counteracts towards the Body Snatcher, and kicks his fucking ass. And that, I like that. The first half of the episode, even though you can necessarily say that was a little bit dragged out, it was a good portion of this episode that I really enjoyed. It had a really good atmosphere to it. I like the music, I like the atmosphere. Animation could have been a little bit better, but I mean, of course they're going to be saving that animation art budget for the upcoming episodes, which... Okay, so, now, besides the first half of the episode, and finding out each individual situation of how Face isn't going off and everybody still has their magic, we get to see some different setups for other battles taking place. For instance, Minerva versus Erza, and you see how it's starting to begin, and that right there is going to be pretty damn good. I cannot wait to see that fight and see it in anime form. Can't wait to hear what type of soundtrack is going to be in that type of battle, because I'm praying we get like a remix of Arma Titania. I really hope we get that song, because that is one of my favorite soundtracks from the original Fairy Tail, and I've been looking forward to hearing like a remix version of that for Fairy Tail 2014. I really hope we get that type of song in this upcoming battle, because I missed it so much and it hasn't been really replayed, because you have certain songs that have been remixed a little bit and then been brought back into this arc. I just hope we get to hear that song, because that was one of my favorite songs of the original Fairy Tail, so hopefully Erza gets that theme song, because it's going to be awesome. So, moving into the second half of the episode, which has a lot of the main discussion I want to talk about, so we have it to where we come to find out that Mira cannot take over demons. She cannot use her take over to take over demons and absorb them, and you have it to where, like, demons can't use their signature curses on Mira as well, because she has some form of demon inside of her. And you get to see how this was displayed in this episode when you see how they both were conflicted, like they couldn't use their signature spells or curses against each other. And eventually you had it to where one of them, they decided to use their own ability on themselves, and it's like, okay, exceed your limits. I will control myself, exceed my limits, and I'll come after you. And you saw it to where Mira was like, oh shit, she was getting her shit knocked in, and she couldn't do shit about it. So we have to wonder, how's that fight going to turn out? I mean, is Mira going to be able to handle that by herself, or is someone else going to have to come in and help her? A lot of questions of that, but that is getting heated up, and I can't wait to see more of that animated. But for now, one thing I do like is the subtle hints and build-up taking place in this episode. Like, I'm not going to dive into them because spoiler reasons, but I think some manga readers might understand. There's a lot of little hints and setup with this episode that I feel like the anime studio is making a little bit more obvious, but the way they're doing it, I don't think, you know, anime onlys will catch on until you see what happens. But I like how it's being handled, especially in this episode, with certain little subtle hints building up to some of the revelations in the future. And that's kind of what I am really liking so far about these recent episodes, because there is some really good hints, or it may have been in the manga, but at the time when I was reading the manga Fairy Tail, I never actually realized until now I'm rewatching it and seeing it again in anime form. I probably never realized those type of hints, so it's kind of shocking seeing this and some of the things I didn't notice the first time around. But regardless of that, okay, the second half of the episode, I like how it slowly builds up that revelation towards the end with, you know, we need to get Master In to awake. I need to awaken him and all that. Shit's going down. Shit is going down. Like, you know it's going down. Like, that's pretty badass. Come on. Come on. How hyped are all of you? Just let me know in the comments below. So, Fairy Tail, for the most part this week, to be honest, it was not as good as last week's. I won't deny that. Last week's episode, personally, to me, was way, 1,000 times better, because that episode was fucking, oh god, it was good. It was so good. The animation, to the art. I mean, the art lacked in some areas, but for the most part, when it counted, it looked fucking beautiful. And I mean, the music choice, to the way it was done, the execution of the camera angles. Last week's episode was on fucking point. This episode was kind of like a meh, average episode. I mean, it was good. It was a good episode, but it was an average episode. Nothing spectacular. But these are the type of episodes I do appreciate when it comes to Fairy Tail, because it's that gradual build-up for some of the epic moments. And I'm glad that the anime staff is using these type of episodes to kind of degrade the budget when it comes to animation and art, because I like it how these episodes are being used, because later on down the road, for episodes that really count, we're going to have some really good budget and some beautiful stuff, because if what we see from last week's episode in future episodes, that's going to be good. I cannot wait. And so I'm glad that this week's episode kind of was a little bit lacking, actually, because that means we should get some very good content very soon for the anime. That's about it. I mean, tell me your thoughts. How do you all feel about the fights taking place in this episode? How do you feel about the ending conclusion of this episode with the preview, the chair? How do you feel about, you know, getting to see the different individual parts with the lab? Let me know. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.